Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? We're getting ready to get started. And I think we're coming in now. Yeah, there we go. So I want to welcome everybody to a class today. Our class is Conversations in African History and Culture. And today we are enjoying a beautiful day. We are here together. Before we start, we always begin with libations to our ancestors, because our ancestors are the source of our strength, the source of our power, the source of our joy, the source of our happiness. So it's important for us on an individual level to honor our ancestors, and it's important for us collectively to honor our ancestors. And the way we do that is we do that through libations. And so we use water, which is our conduit for allowing spiritual energy to come into our presence. And so today, if you agree with what I am saying as we are honoring our ancestors, then simply say Ashe. So we want to start out by saying we want to honor the ancestors who gave us the gifts of civilization, the gifts of society, the gifts of religion, the gifts of scholarship, the gifts of science, the gifts of knowledge and wisdom. And we want to honor those who began life along the Nile, for that's where life began, the blue and the white Nile. And so we're going to honor our ancestors who gave us life and gave us this pertinent information to help us along our way. We say Ashe. We want to honor and remember our ancestors from the west coast of Africa in particular, because it was from the west coast of Africa that so many of our brothers and sisters were kidnapped, murdered, put on slave ships and brought to North America in 1619. But upon that journey, there were so many of our brothers and sisters who lost their lives, who lost their livelihood. And we remember that this cruel punishment had never been seen in the history of the world. It was called the Ma'afa because of the cruelty of it, and how many people died in the Ma'afa and how many bones lie in the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. But we want to say that we continue fighting on because we have the same spirit inside of us that was inside of our ancestors, and we remember them, and we will never forget them, and they will continue to be beside us always. We say Ashe.
Ashe.
We want to remember our trials and tribulations here on the North American continent. We look back and we see how our people were treated, called 3/5 of a person, treated like animals, worse than animals, beat, whipped, lynched, hung, castrated. All the evils that could possibly be imagined were heaped upon us as a people. And so we remember those who have gone before us, who have had to go through and endure that suffering. And we say we will never forget you. We say Ashe.
Ashe.
We connect today with our brothers and sisters around the planet who are engaging in the struggle, in this liberation struggle of liberating African people around the world, and also in the liberation struggle of ourselves, of liberating ourselves from the evil, toxic world that we were cast into. As I like to say, North America is the vortex of evil, the evilest country in the history of the world. But through that vortex of evil, we have endured and we have risen. As my sister Maya Angelou would say, no matter what you put on us, we shall rise. And so we say collectively, Ashe.
Ashe.
We want to remember and give honor to those who are going to come after us, to our children who are yet unborn. As we come together today, we come together in the spirit of creating and building a world where they can find joy, peace, love, happiness. We say Ashe.
Ashe.
And so at this time we ask that if you would like to call out a name of an ancestor that you would have join us today as we continue and embark upon this journey of discovery, this journey of liberation. We ask you to simply call upon ancestors either in your own personal life or ancestors in the collective spirit of African people. So in that collective spirit, we call upon Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey, Ida B. Wells, Sister Nzinga from the motherland, Sister Yaa Asantewaa, Queen Nefertiti. We call upon all those ancestors to come join us. And if you'd like to call out a name today from someone in your personal history, feel free to do so as we say Ashe. Wale Mubaba Shango, my mother, Miss Helen Rose Vincent, Queen Mother Denver, Ashe.
Ashe.
Call out those names. Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. Brother Malcolm. Ashe. Continue calling those names out, either in your spirit or out loud, of the ancestors who will have us join us today. Ashe. 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 Oh. So here we go. Today, we're continuing on our conversations as we look at the third principle of the Nguzo Saba. The Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles that we celebrate primarily at Kwanzaa, but we practice those principles all year long. The first principle that we talked about 2 weeks ago was Umoja, unity. We then talked about Kujichagulia, self-determination. And today we're going to talk about collective work and responsibility, Ujima. And as we embark upon this conversation about collective work and responsibility, the first thing I want to say is work is not bad. Work is not bad. Slaving, that's bad. Working for other people in their interests and getting nothing in return, that's bad. Going to a slave job, that's bad. But work itself is not bad. So let's first talk about work and why work is so important. Work is important because work is what gives us meaning. Work is what gives us purpose. And we like to say, as we always do in this class, we're about creating a correct relationship with the Creator, with nature, and with community. So to create community, you got to do some work. Work is a good thing. Work is what allows us to feed ourselves, feed others. Work is what gives us the joy of creation. So work and creation are connected together. The work that we don't like is the work when we are working against our own interests. We are working for someone else or working for evil and having to be caught up in that whole rat race evil system. That's what we don't like. But let's not make the word work a bad word. Work is a good thing. It's a wonderful thing. It allows us to take our energies and bring them into a productive place. So when we talk about collective work, we're talking about the fundamental basis of building community, and it's working collectively. So we like to say that in everything that we're presenting today, our African ancestors taught us to always frame it within this context. We're always seeking to build a correct relationship with the Creator, a correct relationship with nature, a correct relationship with community. And our purpose on being on the planet is to bring beauty, harmony, and communion. And we define good as everything that contributes to those aspects of our principles, and we define evil as anything that goes against those principles. Anything that is going against our building beauty, harmony, communion is evil. Anything that goes against having a good relationship with community, a good relationship with nature, a good relationship with the Creator is evil. And so as we talk about collective work and responsibility, we understand that there's 2 sides to that. There's the good side, and then there's the bad side. And we have to talk about the things that block us from creating collective work, the things that get in the way of us working collectively. So we're going to talk about that on the internal struggle that we have to go through and what that looks like. And then we're going to talk about responsibility, because we were given responsibility for this planet. And the word responsibility means basically to spontaneously go back to the way life should be. So when we talk about responsibility, we're saying that we are responsible for everything that happens on this planet. We're responsible for how we take care of the temple, which we call our body. We're responsible for creating a society, a civilization, a way of being that allows us to have a philosophical and ethical principle, a philosophical and ethical base, which allows us to be in harmony, allows us to be in communion, allows us to see beauty in each other and everything around us. But let's be clear. Evil is working daily, organizing daily to keep that from coming into being. So let's talk about what is the main obstacle to collective work and responsibility. What is it that we have to deal with in order to create? And again, we said that all 7 of these principles, the 7 principles of the Nkuzu Saba, the 7 principles of Ma'at, which we talked about before: truth, justice, harmony, order, balance, reciprocity, propriety. The 7 principles of our chakra system, the principles of our root chakra, our sacral chakra, our solar plex chakra, our heart chakra, our throat chakra, our third eye chakra, our crown chakra. All of these 7 principles, these 7 chakras, all work collectively together. And they work collectively together for the good. But let's talk about what is the block that we have to face. What is the challenge that all of us have to face? And it doesn't matter who you are or where you are, we all face this challenge. And that challenge is our animal spirit. We are made of 2 fundamental spirits. I say fundamental, 2 spiritual aspects. Our first is our animal spirit, and then we'll talk about the higher spirit, the highest spirit, the consciousness spirit. But let's first talk about that animal spirit, because we need to understand ourselves. Our ancient African ancestors taught us we have to know ourselves to know how we can best function in the world that we live in. So when we talk about the animal spirit deals with attractions and pleasure. Now understand, the animal spirit is not bad, but it can be good or bad. It can be used for either one. But the animal spirit is put inside of us, and it deals with the things that we like. It deals with our cravings. It deals with our desires. And we know how that goes, right? Our animal spirit deals with our senses. It deals with the things that basically we were put on earth to enjoy. So the animal spirit creates the pleasure, and then the animal spirit functions out of a very, very simple dynamic. The animal spirit functions out of, if I want something, I want it right now, and I don't care how it affects anybody else. I want it right now, and if I don't get it, I'm going to be angry, frustrated. I'm going to function out of fear. But let's break that down a little bit. The animal spirit in us starts when we're a baby. Remember when we were a baby? When we were hungry, we didn't care where we were, who was around, what was going on. We were going to speak out in the language that we knew best, which was usually crying, until we found satisfaction for that craving inside of us, which at that time was called hunger. And that's a good thing. And the animal spirit, the desire to feed ourselves, is part of what motivates us to build community. So we build community in order that we can create systems and a society that will feed our animal spirit on a very basic level, on a basic level of food and water. But there's something about this animal spirit that you have to be aware of, and that is how to progress from the animal spirit to the spiritual spirit, to the what we call the adult spirit. We have the child spirit and the adult spirit. The child spirit is really a understanding of how to deal with physical danger. The animal spirit, the child spirit, teaches us how to deal with physical danger, but it also has another side to that. It also goes to the point of being demanding. Now, we know our animal spirit, and it's extremely demanding. And we know that when it wants something, it wants it right then and right now. And here's the problem with the animal spirit. When you have not reached the mature level of recognizing how what you want, how it will affect others, how it interacts with others, how it creates problems with others, that's when the animal spirit is a problem. The animal spirit is put in us as a way of understanding and living and being connected to other people and having the opportunity to enjoy certain physical pleasures. But the animal spirit is limited. It's limited in what it can do and what it can't do. The animal spirit deals with your emotions and feelings. Now, you know that's a close subject, very close to our heart, our emotions and feelings. But our emotions and feelings primarily come out of our animal spirit. And our emotions and feelings can dictate our behavior. And check this out. Our emotions and feelings, when dictate our behavior, when we function from the animal spirit, we will like stuff that is bad for us and hate stuff that is good for us. Let me say that again. When we are functioning from our animal spirit and we are not having our higher spiritual self, our wise dome, our wisdom, move our behavior and dictate our behavior, if we're functioning from our animal spirit, we will like things that are bad for us and dislike things that are good for us. Take a moment and think about that on a personal level. Think of how many times you have done things which were not good for you, but they were coming from your animal spirit. And you stayed away from doing things that were good for you because it was going against your animal spirit. Use your own experience to take you there. Because what happens when you are functioning from your animal spirit, when you don't get what you want, you start dealing with a physical solution. When you don't get what you want to beat somebody up. You want to actually do things to other people to get your way. And it's all about you. The animal spirit is functioning directly out of individualism. It's only caring about what it wants, when it wants it, and it uses physical violence to get what it wants, when it wants it. That's why when we're working with children, babies in particular, we have to socialize them on how to get along. Because if not, they will pull on things, and I want this, and I want this, and I want this. And there's some words that come to mind when we're dealing from that animal spirit, and you have to be very conscious of these words. When you start talking about mine, and I, and me, and it's coming from that animal spirit, you're walking down the path of evil. Because now you're saying you want to possess things. You want to control things. You want to exploit things. You want to manipulate things. And whenever you're dealing with exploitation, manipulation, possession, control, you're dealing with the evil that can take place in your animal spirit. So understand that. Exploiting, cleverness, cunningness, figuring out how you're going to get over on somebody, that's all your animal spirit. Creating deceptions, fooling people into thinking one thing while you're actually doing something else. That's all evil. And it's all about your animal spirit. And unfortunately, it comes from a lack of understanding of where you could actually get these things without having to do that. So understand this animal spirit is used to justify you doing what you want to do, and we rationalize it, right? We rationalize our animal spirit to say, okay, it's okay to be a little exploitive because, that's the way of the world. It's okay to be a little manipulative because that's what you got to do. It's okay to be a little oppressive because I need what I need. No. All of that is that evil spirit being manifested through that animal spirit, being out of control. One of the things the African ancient ancestors used to say is when you are functioning from your animal spirit, you are on the wild. And when you're on the wild, you are just that. You are on the wild. And you are doing wild things. Everybody say amen. Say, Baba, I've done some wild things because I was on the wild and I was functioning out of my animal spirit. I was functioning out what I wanted. I was looking for my pleasure and my happiness, and I wasn't thinking about nobody else. That animal spirit is what dominates society that we call the vortex of evil, the American society, white nationalism, white supremacy, white this, white that. All that oppression comes out of the animal spirit. And it comes out of the animal spirit, and they justify it through clever means, through books. They create schools that say it's okay to be this. I often tease my friends who go to business school. I say, you're just going to how to steal, how to steal and get away with it. The reality is that's what they're teaching you in business school, how to cheat, how to lie, and they don't call it that. They have nice names for it, like operating the systems of economy for the benefit of people that we love. Come on, no, let's get real. It's about exploiting and oppressing and manipulating and using other people, and they create all kind of institutions to back that up. You create all kind of mythologies and television and movies to make it seem like it's okay, but it's not. And the reality is that this animal spirit, which is connected to our senses and to our emotions, is exactly what they use to oppress us. That's exactly what they use to try to entice us to join them in their evil ways. You've heard the saying, misery loves company. Well, how does misery get you to join it? It appeals to your emotions and to your senses. Check that out now. Anytime you're dealing with exploitation, it's trying to get to your animal spirit, and it's trying to get through it through your emotions and through your senses. Because evil is not trying to get to your spiritual nature. It's not trying to get to your higher self. It can't even go that direction. So it doesn't. So check it out. When evil wants you to participate with it, it's going to appeal to your animal nature, and it's going to appeal to your emotions, it's going to appeal to your feelings, and it's going to appeal to your senses. And it's going to say, this is you. But let's be real. The animal nature is only a part of you, and it's the lower part of you. Let's get to the real deal. The animal nature cannot give you energy to live. Let me say that again. The animal nature cannot give you the energy and spirit to live. The energy and spirit you need to live comes from the Creator. It comes from the higher level. Your senses need energy to function. Your feelings need energy to function. Your emotions need energy to function. Without energy, it's just a piece of matter standing there doing nothing. So what is the energy that moves everything? It is God. Come on home with me now. God is the source of the energy of the universe. in the teachings of our ancient African ancestors and repeated by our brother Jaramogi Baby Ajiman, God is creative, God is energy, God is cosmic energy. It means there's energy everywhere, God is everywhere, and God is also creative intelligence. So energy that allows you to do things is led by an intelligence, and that was put inside of you by God, not by the devil. So therefore, you have to be able to connect with the God inside of you in order to satisfy and be about what you want to be about, not the evil inside of you. Because understand now, we have the ability to go both ways. But the energy that gives us life is the God inside of us. And when we connect into the God inside of us, now we're about going down the path of the holistic culture, which can remove us from the toxic culture. When we connect to the God inside of us, the first thing that we say about God, and we all say it in all different languages, we say God is love. God is love. What does that mean? It means that the energy that allows us to move everything and to experience pleasure and senses, the energy behind that is God. And that energy behind that is love. So God loves us and puts this energy inside us, which allows everything else to happen. Without God, don't nothing else happen. Without that cosmic energy and that creative intelligence, nothing else happens. So we've got to be able to have that correct relationship with the cosmic energy and the creative intelligence that runs the entire planet, runs the entire universe. Now here's the good news. The good news is that this cosmic energy and this creative intelligence is already inside of us. We don't have to go nowhere to find it. It was already put inside of us. And that's where we're going to take a little break today in our class. And I want you to just take a moment, take a deep breath, feel yourself for a second. Feel your feet, feel your legs, and understand you couldn't feel that without the energy of God. Feel your heart, feel your chest, feel your breath, feel your smell, feel your hearing. None of that takes place without the energy of God. So what does that mean? As intelligent people, and we are intelligent, we want to connect with that energy. And we want to have a relationship with that energy that is good, that is on a good side, because God is fair. Let me say that again. God is fair. And here's what I'm talking about. If you are doing the good, and let's define that good for a moment. Good is when you are in service to others. Good is when you're using your creativity, using your energy, your gifts and talents to make others in a better space, to make the world in a better space. And good is when you're doing that and you're in a community where others are doing that, and so you take care of each other while you're servicing and doing good. From that space, that serving, that's what love is. My brother, Minister Farrakhan, said something very profound, and I'm going to repeat it. He said, love anticipates need. Break that down. Love anticipates need. So all the needs that you have on the animal nature can be satisfied by a loving spirit that deals with love as a serving basis that provides all your needs. When you live in a communal society and you are involved with people who are collectively working from that God space, you're not dealing with need. So there's no need to be involved with exploiting, because there's no need to exploit or manipulate or be clever or cunning or steal, because you've got what you need. Sounds so simple, doesn't it? When you're working in a communal society which is based on love, and the love of God, and the love of nature, and the love of people, which is based on love, which is based on giving and serving, you don't have to be involved with exploiting, manipulating, possessing, controlling, jealousy, envy, cunningness, cleverness. You don't have to do none of that. You can just be you. Or like my young brothers and sisters say, and I'm going to steal from them. I'm going to steal from my man from the Gumbo Jam, Matthew. He says, you can be your authentic self. And your authentic self, the self that's inside of you, that's the real self, is the God in you. The self that's inside of you does not go through ups and downs. The self that's inside of you has always been here and will always be here. The real self, the real you, that real God inside of you, the energy that provides all the other things to deal with, all the external things, the animal things, the God inside of you has never gone anywhere and will always be there. And so as you experience that and you feel that, that lets you know what time it is. And like we like to say, it's time to let love be the force that drives us. Now what's interesting is we hear that all the time. And we reflect that all the time, especially in our creativity. Everybody who loves a good love song say, Ashe. Everybody who loves a good love song say amen. How the love songs, how it makes you feel. And when we think about love songs, let me go to my brother, who is the creator of the greatest love songs that I've heard. And when this brother sings, you can feel the love coming out of him. And I know somebody's already with me on this. Listen to Luther. Yes, listen to our brother Luther Vandross. When he sings about love, he lets you know what time it is. I don't want nobody ever love me. I want to be about love. Just listen to Luther. Listen to my other brother who sings about love all the time. Listen to Kim. Everybody say, yay, Kim. Listen to Bob Marley. Listen to Frankie Beverly. Listen to Aretha. Listen to Chakra. Let me give her a shout. Listen to Yolanda Adams, my girl from here in Houston. When we're singing about love, it touches something inside of us. And it touches the spirit inside of us. Because love is the key. My brother Baba Aminkar, who is in the ancestral realm, who I know is joining us today, he would always say, love is the most intelligent thing we can do. The most intelligent thing we can do is love. And we have to understand